Hi everyone and welcome to Fresh from My Garden. Today I'm sharing a very beautiful flowering vine from our garden, and these are in full bloom currently on a trellis in our garden. And these are the beautiful bleeding heart vines. Bleeding Heart is a flowering vine from the Clerodendrum family, and it's an evergreen flowering vine that grows and blooms well throughout the summer and the late summer season. These plants have woody stems, and our plant is planted in the ground in the northeast side of our garden, where it has grown well over a trellis, and now it has started producing a lot of flowers. As you can see, these plants have beautiful dark green leaves, and it's an evergreen flowering vine that can grow well in spots that receive 4 to 5 hours of morning sunlight. These plants are sensitive to the harsh afternoon sunlight, so it's better to plant them or grow them in a space where they receive some morning sunlight and afternoon shade. These plants can be grown in containers as well as in the ground, but when we are growing in containers, they must be planted at least in a 12 to 14-inch container so that they can grow well and spread over a trellis and bloom regularly throughout the blooming season. This is the variety of bleeding heart vine known as the red bleeding heart, and there is also another variety which has white and red flowers instead of the pink and red that we see here. As you can see, these flowers bloom in bunches or clusters, and they can be a great addition to parts of our garden that receive only some filtered sunlight. When the plant is growing in the ground just like ours is, it will grow really well, and if there is a trellis nearby to support the plant, it will grow really thick and beautiful. But when it is planted in a container, we might see only limited growth on the plant. When we are growing in a container, we can add a few stakes to make a small trellis onto which these plants can grow to make them look more bushy and fuller with lot of blooms inside a container. Water these plants regularly to make sure that they have moist soil around the roots but not that is completely soaking wet. When planting these in containers, we can use a potting mixture that has some garden soil with cocoa peat and compost, and I also layer some dry leaves it between so that that will also decompose and nourish the plants. Using some seaweed granules or bone meal once or twice during the blooming season will help these plants grow well and produce a lot of flowers during the blooming season. Phosphorus rich fertilizers like seaweed granules and bone meal are the right kind of fertilizers for flowering plants because nitrogen rich fertilizers will only help in foliage growth and not in flowering. Once the blooming season is over, we can prune back all the branches and the spent blooms to encourage new blooms and lot of new growth during the next summer season. If this plant is not pruned back regularly, it can also get really invasive and can take over a lot of space in the garden. I hope you enjoyed a view of these beautiful flowers from our garden and the tips that I've shared in this video to grow this plant in your garden. If you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please do support us by subscribing to our channel and watching all our videos regularly. We share regular updates from our garden on our channel and also on our Instagram. Thanks for watching Fresh from My Garden.